Hey, time for some Type 40, extra Type 40 here for you exclusively on the Spacebook channel with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. I was going to go really high with that, and then I decided against it. It's far too late in the evening. For all that nonsense. Welcome back to the channel. Type 40 Extra is our before show, after show, and in between show to all the nonsense that we pump out under the Type 40 brackets of the podcasts, the live streams, the discussions, and everything else. And yeah, we've got more coming at you right now, this casual chat over the next hour or so, somewhere nice and cozy with this lot. So I've got who have I got? Yes, I've got Charlotte Shields next to me. We've got Gary Akers, the retro doc himself, over the far corner. Will Hadcroft, first time on the show for Will Hadcroft, the actual writer. I know. Don't tell him, everybody. Don't tell him.
Actual writer.
He's here, and we've got Jack Main over there in the corner, the fan artist extraordinaire. So we're here together, huddled round for a bit of a chat and a catch up about all things Doctor Who. I say we'll see whatever can fit in to the next hour or so. Will, how do you fancy that?
That sounds great to me.
So people may have seen your name somewhere or other quite recently, haven't they? Will, where would that be? I've got a clue coming.
Oh, go on, give us a clue.
Is it a clue?
Oh, that's a very big clue. Yeah, yeah.
So what's
the
this?
resurrection plant.
If people haven't seen it, so yeah, when was this released, and how well has it done, and how thrilled are you about it all?
Well, it came out in August 2022. I was commissioned to write it in 2019, and then a certain virus got in the way of its release, set everything back a couple of years. So it came out in August 2022. Everyone who's contacted me about the story has said nothing but nice things about it, and I myself am thrilled to have finally done it, because obviously a Doctor Who fan who is also a writer dreams of writing a Doctor Who. So at age 52, as I was then, the dream finally came true, and it's a thrill. Because I'm very aware that a lot of people who get into this sort of thing as writers, they're normally in their 20s and 30s when they get their break. So I've waited decades for this to finally come about. So I think
that does seem to be. I think that is the case now. I think, and it's nice that young writers are given the opportunities that they are. But like you say, I feel that traditionally there's never really been an age barrier to getting your first work published. And so I think it's very, I don't know, I think there's something very nice about it. I think obviously the fan in all of us, particularly creative fans, Jack will know exactly what I'm talking about there, to see that you can fulfill this long-held ambition. It's inspiration, I think, for people out there, Will, whatever their creative endeavor.
Yeah, I was contacted by another fan who's also a writer and makes content, and he said it gave him hope, because he's around my age. Wow. And he said it gave him hope that you can still get there even if it's late in the day. You know, there's still a chance that you might get that break.
Late in the day, Gary. I don't think it's late in the day at all.
Come on now, we're all young at heart. That's the important thing.
It's midday at the very most. So yeah, this is the thing though. We're together this time. Well, in fact, we're somewhere nice and cozy, somewhere where people will all recognise here. So here we are. I think we've all seen this. Even Gary probably knows where we are. So this is where the TARDIS has landed this time. So where's this, Gary? Do you know where it is?
Coronation Street. Well, that's on TV. I know that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this is the long running. How long has Coronation Street been going now, Charlotte? Like 60, longer than Doctor Who, hasn't it? 60.
Yeah. Oh, they had a birthday not so long ago, did they? I can't remember which one. It's at least 50, isn't it?
It's December 1960 it began.
Wow. Long
Coronation
time.
Street.
So to see one icon next to another there, Will, that's something, isn't it? I think even somebody who doesn't watch Coronation Street will be kind of moved by that if you're British.
So do any of you have the entire series on video?
No.
One huge box set, Charlotte. That would take up some shelf space, would it not?
It would.
Yeah, I know me and Dan, it would take us about 10 years to watch it, because we're both really bad when it comes to watching anything quickly.
Yeah. And the rest. Are you a Coronation Street viewer, Charlotte? Do you go in for this?
When I was a kid, we watched it like a family viewing. I remember watching like Gale and some of the characters that probably haven't been in it for ages now. So yeah, it was. That's the other thing. Living up north, as we say up here, and my parents, it's sort of seen as a part of the identity a bit, Corey, because it was so unique to have so many voices and accents that you didn't see before Corey really be on telly that much.
Well, the joy for me in Corrie, when I used to be forced to watch it by my nan, was spotting which Doctor Who actors and actresses were in there in the cast. So obviously that woman who plays Gale, I think she's been playing Gale for like 45 years or something like that. She was in the Planet of the Spiders, for example, wasn't she, back in 1974, Will? But she's not the only one by a long chalk, is she? Lots of Doctor Who regulars and occasional guest stars have appeared on Coronation Street. And vice versa. We've got Coronation Street stars crossing over into Doctor Who. More on that later on. We've got another person to bring on, though. Another regular, not a regular from the Rovers, a regular from this channel. Ian David Diaz has popped up. At long last, he's woken from his slumber. Here he is. Hi, Ian, you okay? No, he's not.
No.
He's gone.
He's still in the Rovers.
Sorry. I'm just fixing stuff. Don't worry. I'll be back. I'll be on in the mo. Sorry.
Okay, good stuff. Yes. So, how about you, Jack? You a Coronation Street guy? Do you watch much terrestrial television anymore?
No, I've noticed it seems to hate me for some reason, or at least who I am. But I grew up watching it with my mom and dad, like Charlotte. So the only character I ever really remember was David. I think he's still in it now.
Probably
is.
Probably
Yeah,
is.
probably is.
The truth of the matter is, Jack, I used to be forced to watch this by my grandparents because they never missed it. And you know what it's like when shows remind you of past times. But I've never really forgiven Coronation Street, Gary, for opposing Doctor Who in the schedules between 1987 and 1989 and giving it a good hiding. To be honest, it's never got back in my good books since the late 80s. But that's the kind of guy I am. I've got a long memory, Gary. What can I say?
Well, it's unfortunate that the show is undergoing kind of a little bit of a renaissance. And it had this massive monster against it.
Yeah. Eventually, Doctor Who had the last laugh. I think we did actually beat it in the ratings one Christmas. We gave Coronation Street a taste of its own medicine way back. And yes, so I wondered if you guys had seen, because obviously it started to the weather is getting a little more toasty now in Great Britain, isn't it? And so people are out and about enjoying the weather, enjoying the countryside, including Doctor Who fans. There's this myth, isn't there, Will, that we're all a load of shut-ins who just spend all our time binge-watching old episodes of Doctor Who. But some of us do get out and about, don't we?
We do indeed.
Yeah.
Lovely sunny day.
And I wondered if you've ever been here where the cast of Doctor Who have been just this last weekend. And I'm always jealous. I see pictures from this event every single year, and I always regret the fact. I think, well, I know I clicked on this when I saw it on Facebook. I clicked that I was interested, and I didn't bloody go again. So I'm talking about this. This is a day at Devil's End, organised by Who's at the Playhouse. So this event happened this last Saturday, and as you can see there, several Doctor Who icons in residence. We've got John Levine, John Leeson, Peter Purvis and Nicola Bryant there sat in Bessie. I'm just looking at John's jacket. Wow.
Colin Baker will be jealous.
What, of the jacket or the convention?
Of the jacket.
That's extraordinary.
I wonder, did they give John Levine a gun and have him try to hit the weathercock like in the actual story?
I think he could probably do that with a kung fu chop now or kung fu kick. I think he would do that. Try stopping him. I think there's nothing that John Levine couldn't do, even at the age, getting up there in years that he is now. He's unstoppable, I think. So, yeah, it looks like a lovely day. It was very, very hot on Saturday, and in the grass, you can see parts of it are a little bit bald. Hasn't been getting enough rain. But look at their faces. Look, they're having a fantastic time, aren't they, Charlotte? What do you reckon of this?
Oh, they always look lovely whenever classic either doctors or companions do these events. They just have the biggest smiles. And it's just such a testament that, like, I'm amazed that one story and this location has become such a tourist spot for fans now.
Oh. Yeah, there they all are. I like the fact that you can see the locals in the village of Aldbourne there behind, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. They don't care that what is this yellow car? What is going on? And there's Carol Ann Ford. It was her 83rd birthday last week, and there she is out there with the rest. Yeah, still
great.
Yes, still out there. She does look great, doesn't she? And she's always so engaged with the Doctor Who fans. She wasn't even in the Demons, but neither was Peter. Neither was Peter Purvis or John Leeson or Nicola Bryant. But there they all are. This is the spirit of community that I love about Doctor Who, Gary. I mean, it's the same in the States to some extent, isn't it? Even though you haven't got the locations to visit, it's very much the same.
No, I mean, there's nothing over here that they could do that in the US for. But I've got to tell you, I can't stop staring at John's jacket. I so want that. I want that.
It's going on Gary's Christmas list there.
It is.
That can't be the original car, right?
As
Is
I
that the original
understand
car?
it,
Because it looks
As I-
much smaller. It looks smaller than in the show.
well, Ian, I can tell you as somebody who sat in the actual car, it is a lot smaller than you think it is.
Oh, okay.
But I believe that is a replica looking closely at it. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't know if it was real, but in the Doctor Who experience, in the foyer, there was a Bessie there. So it could be maybe like a replica, like you said, or one of those.
That's the one that the experience was the actual the actual
Oh, was it
one.
the actual one? Okay.
But I don't think this is, because it used to be in Llangollen before, and that's where I even got to sit in it. You weren't supposed to sit in it, Will, but I did anyway.
Was that the guy who also ran the Longleat exhibition? Or was it the Llangollen one?
No, you're talking.
He owned the actual car and would let it out to various places. Who am I thinking of?
I can't remember the gentleman's name because he called it by a different name, didn't he? He died about David. His name was David.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much. And
Yeah.
I know that the car itself still does charity engagements as well. That's still out there on the road. But that was his own personal car. I think that he kind of jazzed up, he restored or something like that. So yeah, it was all happening down at Aldbourne, and fans old and young were there too to meet the likes of Michael Troughton there, who's now playing the second Doctor on audio. And there's the little Who girl. So she's somewhat
everywhere.
of a celeb. I do like little Who girl, particularly love her drawings. I mean, that one of Patrick Troughton in, I think that looks like the scene from The Seeds of Death there, where the foam is coming up the wall, Will.
It could well be. It must be.
So,
Yeah.
And there she's with John Leeson and a drawing of K9. Fantastic stuff.
Lovely.
Great. That's
But
what
that
he's all
wasn't-
about.
Well, that is kind of what it's all about, but it was actually all about this. So this is a real moment if you're a local or a Doctor Who fan, because they've chosen this occasion, this convention, to unveil this blue plaque here. So this commemorates the filming of the Demons at Aldbourne, Wiltshire. But this blue plaque is in the Blue Boar pub, which obviously it doubled as the pub in the story as well, didn't it? And the plaque has been organised by the Doctor Who Appreciation Society and sponsored by Wadworth Brewery. And it's all there as part of that event this weekend. So these blue plaques, these are a thing as well, aren't they, Ian? They're all over Great Britain, aren't they, in various locations, usually associated with historical characters, aren't they? But in the last few years, you do get them in places where they filmed, for example, a Carry On film or The Third Man or something like that. They do turn up, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, there's one in Chelsea, a plaque, Hitchcock. I think he lived there or something like that. So yeah, if you look closely, they're everywhere, those plaques. But I love the door though, and the blue light above it as well.
It's like the fire escape.
Yeah, this way if you want to live.
Been customised.
Really good. Yeah.
Get a slightly closer look at John's jacket there as well. For you, Gary, good stuff. Yeah. So, have you ever seen the Demons there, Jack? What do you make of that one?
I love it because I love like seaside villages. I know you might be surprised, but for a younger generation person, I actually quite like those old-fashioned kind of places. And I love Azal. I think he's cool. But aside from that, it's absolute shite.
Really?
It's overrated.
We're going to get comments. Go on, carry on. Give us your take.
The story makes no sense at all. The Azal is defeated because he had a mental breakdown, and then it's just so overrated. But I do kind of love it. And yeah, then there's that. Then there's Bosch. Yeah.
What do you
I
mean?
don't
then
think
there's-
I
then
need
there's
to say
Bach?
anything, do I?
That was the best leotard money could buy at the time.
No, they just
didn't
wasn't good
script.
enough.
They didn't scrimp on this. Yes, I'm not the world's biggest Pertwee fan, Charlotte, but I like the demons.
Well, I am the world's biggest Pertwee fan. It's my favourite era, and I. Just
Oh,
like
really?
Same here.
What's your favourite Pertwee story then, Jack? Where would you go
Oh
instead?
God, it's often a three-way tie between Inferno, the Green Death, and the Time Warrior.
Oh.
What about dinosaurs?
That's very up and down. I think I like it more today because I tend to think of the baddies as the Green Party, but
Yeah.
Well, the Dwas, they have obviously they sorted out that blue plaque there for the commemorating the filming of the Demons all the way back in it was shown in 71, so it was probably filmed in 1970 or early 71 at the latest. And they've tweeted out Doctor Who at Devil's End by Who's at the Playhouse. So they've tweeted out sincere thanks to everyone in Aldbourne for making the event a success, and happy 60 years of Doctor Who. And they also thank the attendees of the local parish council and church, all those pillars of the community who no doubt signed off on all of that happening. But I was wondering, where would I put one of these blue plaques? I think I've got an idea where I'd put a blue plaque if I could. Which story would you commemorate with a blue plaque, Charlotte?
Oh, that's hard. Like, I'm trying to think of a classic one. I think it would have to be classic for me.
Could be a new. It could be either or.
That's really hard. I have to really think now. Now
Dalek.
put me on the spot.
I like Dalek.
I think it was all filmed. It was mostly filmed indoors, wasn't it? They filmed it at the Millennium
that's the thing
Stadium in
with-
Cardiff, didn't they?
Put a plaque there, mate.
Yeah.
That's the thing with
Right
New
there.
Who. There's so much indoor filming. It's hard to think of like an outdoor
Well,
location.
It depends what era you're looking at, I guess. I mean, obviously the first Chris Eccleston episode, he was near the London Eye, so you know, it was parked near. It was parked on the bridge overlooking the London Eye, wasn't it? The TARDIS. So you can put a plaque there, I guess. This is where the TARDIS landed. Or
I'd do that.
I know. I tell you where I would put one because it has got something already there naturally because of fans. I'd put it where Torchwood was because that was such an important sort of story beat where the rift was. And not so far, you've got Yanto's Shrine, which is what fans have sort of made into a whole Doctor Who sort of place. So I think it'd be nice to be close to that so you could go and visit the shrine as well.
The shrine is weird, isn't it? Because you've got to sort of know where it is to go and find it. Will, have you ever sorted that out?
No, but I was thinking of favourite stories. But I mean, one of my favourite stories is Logopolis, but you can't put a plaque on Jodrell Bank because they never actually went there. The place where the TARDIS lands in the Thames on that barge or whatever it is, no one would see it because nobody goes on that either. And the motorway where in episode 1, no one would see it there either.
Yeah.
So no one would get to
Everybody's
see it.
whizzing past it, yeah. I suppose unless they were looking for it on Google Maps or something like that, they could go and find it there.
I wanted to put a plaque where Chris Eccleston and Billy Piper went through that hole for the climax of the very first Chris Eccleston episode, but apparently it's not there. So what a surprise!
That wasn't real. It was a
I know.
prop, wasn't it? The hatchway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
How about you, Jack? Any ideas? If you don't think the Demons is worthy of a blue plaque, where would you put one? Doesn't have to be the Pertwee.
I mean, can anyone think of a quarry that was used multiple times?
Is it still there though?
The classic Who, I'm sure there's one somewhere.
Is that down in Dorking, the one that they used? What they shared it with Blake 7, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which one did they use for Genesis? I thought that was one of the few ones that was convincing.
Yeah,
It's a slate quarry they used for that, wasn't it?
You know where they should put a plaque? They should put a plaque in Battersea Power Station, because Battersea Power Station was used. I don't know if Doctor Who used it, but I know Red Dwarf used it quite a lot, didn't they?
Yeah.
For shots inside.
The episode
Did Doctor Who
Justice.
use it?
The episode Justice was definitely filmed at the Battersea Power Station. But to the best of my knowledge, Doctor Who's never gone there.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not inside it. Yeah.
This is where somebody's going to chip in the comment section to
Yes.
tell them I got it completely wrong. So yes, Waller, remember, please like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Check you're still subscribed and hit the cloister bell so you get the notifications about what we're doing next, when we're doing it, what we're talking about, and what you can correct us on next. Keep the comments coming down below. How about you, Gary? Have you got any idea where would you put one of these blue plaques?
Well, I have two. One, and I don't know if one's a public place. The first thing that popped into my mind was the mansion that they filmed Seeds of Doom at. Was that Mick Jagger's place?
That is, yeah, the Priory.
Okay.
Oh,
And then also the castle that they filmed The Time Warrior at.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love that one.
Yeah. It's definitely still there.
Okay.
I don't know if people can actually walk around it. I think they can. A lot of these things are connected to the National Trust, I think. So a lot of Doctor Who locations. There's some Cock Castle. I've got to pronounce that properly. Cock Castle, where they filmed multiple episodes of the new series in Wales. That I know somebody who got married there, so I know you can definitely go there.
What about the castle from Silver Nemesis?
Oh yeah.
That's Arundel, I think that one's called, isn't it? That's because it was filmed all over Windsor, but that castle you're talking about, that home, is called Arundel, I think. Maybe.
What was that episode where I can't remember who threw the Dalek off, and it was in their London Bridge?
Was that Davidson?
Resurrection.
Yeah,
Resurrection,
that's all flats now. All that stuff. It's all kind of flats and all that now. So
Yeah.
Well, the Who
back
shop,
on one of those flats.
the Who shop used to be based there for a little while afterwards.
Oh, did it?
But yeah, but I think a lot of fans do take pictures there. I've certainly seen them on social media. So I think that's a really strong one.
What about that? What about that park where Sylvester and Sophie walk off at the end in the last one?
Where was that?
Yeah.
Is that it's supposed to be Perry Vale? I don't know where it really
They
was.
did actually film it in Perivale, most of that. I think that's a great answer, Will. But you know what? I'd probably go for the scene where, because in that story, that's when the TARDIS dematerializes on screen for the last time, isn't it? It's on that person. There's a person's driveway where the Master and the Doctor are having a bit of a fight. They're sort of staring each other out. And it's somebody's driveway. It's next to their garage. I'd have a word with them, knock them up, and see if you can say, "Can I put a blue plaque here on your garage?" Because in the classic series of Doctor Who, this is where the TARDIS dematerialised from the very, very last time. They'd probably not be having any of it. They might demand a fee, but
I just thought of another place, the village in Android Invasion, where they go into the pub, where the Doctor's tied onto that little. The center thing. I don't know if that village is still there.
It is still there, yeah.
I definitely put one there.
Plaques
great
everywhere.
answers. Great answers, everybody. I would, of course, go to the location of Delta and the Bannermen at the holiday camp on Barry Island, which I gather
is still there.
It's still standing. It's looking somewhat dishevelled, I think. It may even be boarded up, but I would certainly I'd find the remains of that location, and I would commemorate Delta and the Bannermen there with a lovely, nice.
I was actually on
plaque.
holiday there with the family a long time ago. Actually, I think weeks after they shot that.
Wow.
Really?
But Butlins is freezing. Remember in those days, it was a dump. It was a real dump. Seriously. Actually, was it Butlins? It probably was Butlins. Yeah.
It was either Butlins or Pontins.
Pontins, yeah, it's probably.
It was.
I'm probably
one of
wrong.
them.
It was Pontins, probably. They're both the same anyway. They were terrible holiday resorts. They really were. In those days, they're terrible.
What a wounder for the good people at Pontins there. So yes, let us know where you would put a blue plaque to commemorate. It doesn't have to be your favourite Doctor Who story. It could be your favourite location. And we may well get back to you in the comments section and here on Type 40 Extra as well. And we can fill the country, fill the UK, and maybe take some abroad as well, because we could take them over to Paris where they filmed City of Death, can't we, Will? And the French won't mind, will they?
Of course.
They'll probably take it down.
So have a bit of a holiday to Tenerife or places like that. I'm sure there's been a few filmings in Canary
So
Islands.
whatever you do these days, someone seems to take offence. So just be careful. That's all I can say.
Send our Doctor Who plaques over to the French. Serve them right for all those bloody awful films. Anyway, yes, where we're going next. So now I've been thinking. I hope people know when I'm joking on this show by now. Yes, the other day I was amazed to see that it has been 18 years since this guy, David Tennant, made his first on-screen appearance.
18 years.
Look at that.
18 years. Do you need a moment, Jess?
Wow.
I'm old.
This is the thing when you talk to younger fans, you think every regeneration obviously is somebody's first, and it was David Tennant's first as well. He's had a couple since, hasn't he? So he's back now as the 14th Doctor. What goes around seems to come around, and he's got far more product in his hair this time, Charlotte. But there he is, all present and correct. David Tennant is back as the Doctor all these years later. Who'd have thought it when he disappeared all that time ago that we'd have him back as the full-time Doctor? Even if it is just for a finite period of time, it does seem slightly surreal. So that was 18 years ago, this very week. If that doesn't make you feel old, we got more groans than I was expecting, so I think it does. This may make you feel even older, because obviously we're on the threshold of a brand new, all-new era of Doctor Who, with new cast members running around filming the show as we speak, and the promise of several brand new adventures stretching out into the future there, Gary. All these doors are opening again. It could all be starting all over again, and lots more kids. This could be their first regeneration when David Tennant does it all over again. But what may make you feel even older is finding out that Millie Gibson turned 19 years old this very day. So
wow.
Millie Gibson,
which means actually then that she was exactly 1 year old for that previous shot. So when David Tennant changed, then right, she was only a year old. You said it also happened on June 18th, so that would make her. That was her first birthday.
Wow!
It puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
So she's 19 now.
Yes. So obviously Millie Gibson is playing. Yeah.
She's just a child.
Millie Gibson is playing Ruby Sunday, the Doctor's brand new companion in the new series that's currently filming and coming to screens next year. So she was announced as a new companion about 6 or 7 months ago now, Charlotte, a good chunk of time. The papers are generally, websites, I would say the media, I should say, are full of stories about Shooter Gatwa now most weeks. But Millie just seems to be kind of under the radar. She's still there. She's still turning up for work every day, just as she is. And obviously people know her from Coronation Street. She played, what was the name? She played Kelly, didn't she, on Coronation Street for about 3 years. So she's got this sort of fan base already. And here she is about to embark on the role of a lifetime. This time next year, Millie Gibson could be an international name. It's possible, isn't it?
Oh yeah, like especially with companions, I honestly think they have an easier run when it comes to after the show, because it's not so much of a big role like the Doctor, so they can just sort of slip into other stuff. And I'm hoping that she does do well, because it'd be brilliant to have another British actress out there who can like do her job well and sort of showcase what British talent can do.
For all that the classic series, Gary, it used to be said that the role of the companion in Doctor Who was a bit of a kiss of death to actresses' careers, but that certainly hasn't been the case in the history of the new series, is it? Not by a long way.
Oh no! Just look at Karen Gillan. I mean, she fully embraced the role while she was on the show, but she is like leaps and bounds. Since she's directing her own movies, she's a Marvel star, and talent will out. I mean, if you have the natural talent and charisma that allows you to do a lot of different things, it's just a matter of grabbing the opportunities, when they come to you.
I don't know. I think it's different today. I think a lot of the companions that from Classic Who, they were very talented, incredibly talented. In fact, the one who played Leela, she's very talented. She's still working now. But I think the whole concept of being typecast has been shoved to the left now, and people accept actors for who they are. I mean, look at what is his name, Pierce Brosnan. He went from James Bond. I mean, with Sean Connery, he was like, that's James Bond, and they wouldn't give him any other part until he had to force it. He had to keep going, didn't he? Until he was recognized as Sean Connery. with Pierce Brosnan. He was later on in life as James Bond, and people just accept him as Pierce Brosnan after he finished doing James Bond, and he kept working, didn't he? So I think the whole aspect of the star being stuck on the same character that they played, I think that's in the past now.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, I think so. She'll if the show is really successful, she'll do really well. She'll come off this and maybe go to America as they all do, and star in some like ER or something like that, some show.
A lot of Coronation Street fans, because obviously it's still a widely watched show. A lot of Coronation Street fans were quite upset when
Really?
When Millie left, left the show. So she won a British Soap Award and got all this sort of let's say adulation, but certainly love from that particular audience. I think a lot of them felt over the 2 or 3 years that she was on it that they'd watched her grow up, because she was there from when she was about 15 onwards, and then she wins that award, and then she's off. So she left last summer, and then it was just a few months later she was announced as the companion on Doctor Who. So she would have probably auditioned not long afterwards. But here she is. So what's she doing on her birthday? I hear you cry, everybody. Well, she's been on Doctor Who filming. So here she was in makeup this morning. This is credit to Becky Lingham, who was one of the makeup staff on Doctor Who at Bad Wolf. And there's Millie she looks like she's got, those are her curlers, aren't they? Red, white and blue. Rollers. I thought she was getting all patriotic on us there, Ian, but no.
Rollers. Who's the woman who had the rollers in Coronation Street when it first started?
I was just thinking that.
She's channeling Hilda Ogden.
Hilda.
Yeah, there she is. And it says here, the only picture I have of you, not in costume. And there's a lot of mutual love there, fired back, obviously, between them. So they're all hard at work there on these new episodes of Doctor Who, and with where they're filming today. So that's her in makeup, and this is where they are. They're in Cardiff once again, which you may be surprised to see this, but it's the City Hall in Cardiff. So this is the location. So it's another period building, and all these lights. So it looks like they're filming indoors. And obviously you wonder, what kind of location is it going to be? Are they going to dress it? Well, we've got this picture of the inside of this place, because obviously it looks like a period building. It's got to be very ornate, I would think, Will. Something really spectacular, maybe that speaks of the National Trust. But I was quite disappointed. It looks like somewhere where you'd hold a wedding.
It's a Doctor Who convention.
You might be meeting Prince Charles. You never know.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
It remains to be seen.
I say King Charles.
Yeah, so that's where they are at the moment, and I would imagine there's going to be some sort of dressing involved to bring that up to scratch. But yeah, so she's there with Ncuti Gatwa filming further episodes of Doctor Who together there, and I'd say that the odds are in their favour for this making them household names this time next year. And for a 19-year-old, Jack, it's got to be quite daunting, hasn't it?
Well, it makes me realise just how slow I've been, really. I'm 23 and she's way ahead of me in terms of accomplishment.
Don't put yourself down, mate.
Yeah, don't, Jack.
What's that all about? Do you know what I mean? You've got plenty of time. Just look at us old fossils, mate. So we ain't got our time's very limited. So you've got a crap load of time to achieve what you want to achieve. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I co-sign that completely. You have so much time to make your mark. Anybody out there who feels the same? Because this is the thing, though, isn't it? In acting, they can be child stars, can't they? Millie has been acting since she was 15, Will. And Bonnie Langford, who we had that announcement last week, didn't we? That Bonnie was coming back to the show. She'd been on telly acting since she was like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah. I can remember when she was in Just William.
She screamed a lot.
Violet Elizabeth, was it the character? Thweeman till I'm thick. That character. And I can remember really hating her as that character. And I think our generation growing up, we probably had that in the back of our heads when she was announced for season 23, Trial of a Time Lord.
I think everybody forgot she did that when she was announced. Will.
Oh, they
Do you think they were more
They
focusing on the
hadn't.
dancing and singing and that sort
Yes,
of things?
I think that's what it was.
Light entertainment.
I'd literally forgot who she was when she was announced. I was like, oh,
Right.
where have I seen her before? And then obviously,
Because I can
You know,
remember
Dan-
thinking, no, not Bonnie Langford. No. I like her now.
Anybody who was still at school in the mid '80s, believe me, nobody had forgotten Just William or
Really?
any of the other stuff.
But isn't
Yeah.
wouldn't that be an instance of somebody really not being able to overcome a previous role that people associated with her, with Bonnie Langford?
Yeah, but
because
the thing about Bonnie Langford is that she did, because she went straight into singing and dancing and stuff, and she did a lot of variety shows and stuff like that. It didn't really stop her. That role didn't really stop her from the guy that played Just William. I don't know what he's been in since Just William. I think he just disappeared. But Bonnie seemed to have kept going. That maybe it's her agent that kind of pushed work her way, or maybe it was her pushing herself. She never gave up. She just kept going. You know, she's never been out of work, put it that way, since Just William. So
it was all a culminative thing with Bonnie, I think, because everything that she did was so exaggerated, wasn't it, Will?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the Vervoid story when she showed up in that. Apart from the skipping rope in the TARDIS and all of that stuff, because that just kind of it emphasized what everybody at that time was thinking, that she was going to be a keep fit fanatic, singing and dancing. But once we got onto the Hyperion 3, apart from the screaming, which was a thing she was famous for with the Just William thing, and it felt like they were kind of deliberately harking back to that to me at the time, that she was a good screamer. But I thought that her character as Mel in the Vervoid story was intelligent and bright and a good contrast to what Nicola Bryant had been doing. That she was almost more of an equal to the Doctor in that Vervoid story, in that she wasn't just asking questions and saying, I don't understand. She was offering suggestions to the Doctor and he would take them up. So I was quite pleasantly surprised that she was not what I thought she was going to be.
Obviously, when people play teenage runaways in soap operas, I wouldn't say there's crossover as such. If they're troubled teenagers, for example, people relate to characters like that because obviously we've all been teenagers. We've all had aspirations. We've all felt perhaps that our own lives were a little bit dull and that the future that was stretching out before us, that some things weren't attainable. And or even have felt, well, what chance do I stand? I'm only a girl from Manchester, a kid from Newport, a lad from insert location there, and that's why people latch onto these characters, and I think that's why older people see them as well. They sometimes see the child that they used to be in that character, or they have sort of parental feelings towards them as they literally watch them grow up. Gary, I would imagine that there's on American television it's largely the same. You see people grow up right in front of your eyes on some of these shows that run for between 5 and 7, 10 years.
Oh well, absolutely. And to add to what you were just saying about maybe adults watching younger characters like this, there's also that element of wish fulfillment. Like, wow, I wish that would have happened to me, when I was a kid. So not in a bad way where you start, knocking the character or yourself, but there's that aspect of, wow, what a great adventure. It would have been so great to be a young person doing that.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, when I was at school, I wish I was short round when I went to see Temple of Doom like 20 times. So yeah, it does happen. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think as well, like sometimes you can even see your friends, can't you? Or people you know.
Yeah.
Like when you're younger, it makes you think of, my best mate at high school, or certain people you were very close with. If they've got certain similar traits or certain backgrounds which were like yours, but you knew somebody else with that background.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, she's I've never seen Coronation Street, and looking at these pictures, I guess they did grow up with her, the fans and stuff like that. So hopefully, I guess what they're hoping for is the fans of Coronation Street will move towards Doctor Who just to see how she's doing. I guess I think Do you reckon that's the reason why they cast her? Although she probably
it's not going to. I don't. That's the reason. I don't. That's the reason why they cast her. But it's not going to hurt the show, is it?
No,
it's not going to.
Yeah.
All the soap fans will be keen to see her when they see her on the trailers when we get nearer to it. But wasn't it the case that Russell T was a big fan of Coronation Street and he saw her on it? Have I just made that up, or is that true?
Well, Russell watches a lot of television, and he wrote for some Coronation Street, didn't he? 20, 30 years ago, wrote some spin-offs as well. So I'd imagine he still watches it. I know he does watch a lot of television.
I had heard that somewhere, and that he'd seen her on it, and that gave him the idea.
But as I said, it's Millie's birthday this week, and she's just turning 19 today as of time of recording. But she's been in the news as well this last couple of days. At the Daily Mirror have had an article here, so this is focused all on Millie, and it's been absolutely everywhere in the last few days. So we've got, where are we? So yeah, we've got this headline says exclusive: Doctor Who star Millie Gibson branded a diva after being annoyed about night shoots. So that's the headline, and it says insiders say that while Millie Gibson has thrown herself into the project, she has been struggling to deal with the night shoots since filming began in Cardiff. And so this has been all over social media today, with some people absolutely incensed by it, the way they tend to be. I mean, it is the case that social media is a place that people go to when they are angry about something, I suppose, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, the stories might not be true because everybody knows the Daily Mirror makes things up, you know. And what's she going to do if she reads it? And she's just going to laugh at it. She's not going to try and sue the Daily Mirror. Daily Mirror makes loads of things up, And also, it could be the case that they were shooting a night shoot and she was really tired, and somebody said something to her or didn't give her a tea or something like that, and she just, went off and won a bit. That's understandable as well, because when you do night shoots are brutal. They really are, especially if you've got 4 in a row. They really are brutal. So, if she went off at one point, it's understandable. But also, it's what happens on night shoot. So if it happened, it happened. I reckon it was all made up though by the Daily Mirror. That's what I reckon.
Well, this is the thing. It's made its way onto social media, and it's being the way that it is. Some have got very, very protective of Millie, and for different reasons, Charlotte. I mean, I'm looking at the article here, and somebody on Twitter in particular raged against this, saying it was clearly an example of misogyny. Who has put this out there? Which misogynists have published this? Until you look down, you see, well, it's three women: Janine Yacoub, Nicola Fahey, and Showbiz editor Laura Armstrong are the people who've put this out. So I don't think misogyny is necessarily an issue, but it's not really helpful, is it? Because you do wonder how Millie will feel reading this.
Yeah, especially as at most, I agree with Ian, this could just be a bit of crew talk. This could just be a bit of crew gossip.
Yep.
Which weirdly has got its way to the paper. When I read through it, I'm going to be honest, I was very confused. Why is this front page, in a sense, news? An actress might have had a bit of a moan. It really boggled me. Like I said, at most, this should just be crew, having a bit of a moan at each other. Oh God, she said this. It didn't really need to come to the press in any way whatsoever.
And why is she a diva for saying it? Why does that make her a diva? There are parts of my day job that I don't like, but it doesn't mean I'm a diva.
Yeah, but what did she say?
That word has got a lot of connotations, Will, hasn't it? It's got a very sort of stereotype around it, connotations around it. So a bit of me's thinking, is there somebody, and maybe I'm just overthinking it way too much, is somebody trying to sort of have a go at the production team here? Is somebody trying to put a bit of drama out there?
It always happens when Chris Eccleston started doing Doctor Who. Obviously, there was some arguments and stuff like that, and there were back chats, and he wasn't happy, whatever. But it does happen, And as I said, it's the Daily Mirror. They got nothing to write about, and they've written this. So It's the way it goes, I
They
guess.
go on to say, this is what confuses me. This is what confuses me, Ian. It says Millie is a pro. An insider has told me, it's always an insider. Millie is a pro on set, and although night shoots are part of the job, they can be tiring for even the most experienced of actors. She won't be the first or last person to be a bit annoyed by a night shoot. So if she's a pro on set, then if somebody's moaned a little bit, then what's the problem?
But that's the thing, you see. She probably just had a little bit of a moan, and they've just blown it out of all proportions. Because, as I said, newspapers now have nothing to print. They really don't. They're too busy disguising the politicians grabbing money from the poor and all that. And you know, and this is just something in front to cover the crap, the really bad crap. You know, so it's just a bit of fluff, I reckon. Unless she really is she really is a diva, and she
really
gave
is
everybody a hard
explosive.
time.
Well, she doesn't come across like, for Shooty, even though I do love his energy and I think he's really charming and I do really enjoy whenever he does press, he's got a bit of a peacockness about him. He's got a bit of look at meism, just because of the way he naturally dresses a bit and sort of the way he carries himself. Not a bad thing
Star
at all.
quality.
I think I adore him. I think he's
Go
got
that
a
far.
brilliant personality whenever I've seen him. Don't know how he's going to act yet, as the Doctor will have to say. Whereas Millie, to me, she's come across as incredibly down to earth, just getting on with the job. She's not done a lot of social stuff. She's not done a lot of interviews. She's sort of just been very
I'm pretty sure she has
inconspicuous.
for Coronation Street. Pretty sure she has.
I mean,
I'm
well,
pretty
she's
sure
like, well,
she's used to it.
I just mean, like, she's not been a big attention when it comes to social or anything else since she got the role, whereas Shooty's got a lot more headlines.
I don't know. It depends on what she did in Coronation Street, because usually what they do is they take the people in soaps and they focus on the main stars, and then they always have a story with one character. So maybe she was in a story with one character, you know, and they focused on her.
It's what you're talking about, Charlotte, though, the fact that we don't see Millie Gibson so much on red carpets and things like that. She's not paraded.
She's not been in the press a lot. She's not put herself out there a lot, and she's like whereas Shooty has. So it's like a bit of an odd one. Again, that this story has just come out of nowhere.
My feeling on this is that it is as weird as it is to read that, Ian. It's stuff like that's been in the papers for however long, and we've always spoken about it and chatted about it, whether somebody used to take the newspaper into work, Will, and you know, you'd leave it around while people are drinking cups of tea and coffees. Have you seen this, what so and so has said or done? Or, you know, Robbie Williams, whatever color hair he's dyed, it's dyed this week, all that kind of thing. It's harmless tittle tattle, really. But the age of the tabloid it's ending, isn't it? It's coming to a close. And so I suspect that for younger people in particular reading this, I can understand why they may get so defensive. I don't understand the misogyny. It's always misogyny, isn't it? Or racism, or it's always something sort of hypersensitized like that. But the truth of the matter is, it's just a bit of a mean thing to put in the newspaper, I think, when you've got nothing to particularly print in. Yeah.
It's fluff. That's all.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
think they know that Doctor Who. People are getting excited about the new series of Doctor Who, so they want to print things about it. And there's nothing to say until it's broadcast.
Yeah,
there's really nothing to say. We don't really know very much about it at all.
But
Also,
also
a couple of trailers. You know, we don't know what's coming. So, sorry.
Also, yeah, sorry. Also, the reason why that's out there is to actually, if it is fluff, it's actually put attention on Doctor Who, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what
It's
I mean?
to generate conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about it now, so it's
Exactly.
works.
Exactly. So,
I mean, my first reaction when I read that story was first to give grace to Millie, because clearly, I mean, she's a professional. She was on a soap for 2-3 years, which is no doubt a grueling schedule to be on a soap, which is on 2-3 times a week. And now she's on a very high profile show, huge pressure. And the one thing I noticed about the story is nothing's sourced, which is an immediate red flag. But also, you know, yeah, if it's on a night shoot, as Ian said, 3 or 4 nights straight of that is going to wear anybody down. I don't know if she's away from home for this, but the way that the story's worded, it maybe takes something that, if it did happen, was maybe like a one-time thing where you just kind of are not at your best or whatever. But the story's worded to make it seem like it's a chronic problem.
Yeah.
Like they claim the actress's attitude has not gone down well, which indicates, oh, it's an ongoing attitude, which probably maybe not true. And then it says she's been struggling to deal. In other words, struggling means it's over a period of time. So I don't think that's fair to maybe take what maybe one crew member saw like in 1 minute or one night and stretch it out and use it to characterize her whole behavior. I don't think that's fair at all.
I suppose no publicity is good. Is bad publicity?
Bad publicity.
Yes, that's right. No publicity is bad publicity. So I would probably just leave them to it and just accept the fact that Doctor Who and Millie Gibson are both being talked about, and that's probably okay.
The real stuff really is going to kick in once the episode she's made air.
Yeah,
her life will be transformed overnight. When her first episode goes out. And then there's going to be lots of good stuff and lots of awful stuff. And that's when she's going to have to really manage it. This stuff, what we're talking about now, is nothing compared to what's coming.
Yeah. And when she does get her feet under the table of Doctor Who, she's going to have to go to all those conventions.
Meet people like us.
She'll be wearing those tartan skirts forever now. So, Jack, as somebody who came to the show with the new series of Doctor Who, just to round off, really, we're at the dawn of the all-new era here. So, how does this make you feel? Because here we are. This is the second reboot of the show. Is this strange for you, knowing that you've sort of watched an entire phase of Doctor Who begin? You've seen the beginning, the middle, and the end, and here we are at the start of something. How does that feel for you?
Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me this. I just want to make something abundantly clear. I've got nothing positive to say about the upcoming show. I'm not excited for it.
I'm with you, Jack. I'm with
you. I think you guys understand where I'm coming. It's like, oh no, he's one of those. It's like, yeah, unfortunately, didn't want to be, but that's just where it is. I wish them the best of luck, but honestly, I just have no. I'm going to watch it out of curiosity, but I'll be watching it expecting it to be bad. So I can't have my heart broken again. So I'm not going to get any hopes up at all. From what the actors have said, even something Millie said, which I won't bring up because you might accuse me of thinking too much into it, and obviously the certain experience that I won't talk about has all but confirmed to me the kind of person that we're dealing with. And so I'm double, triple heartbroken. And, that's it. Doctor Who for me is classic Who, which I'm so blessed to have gone back and fallen in love with. And maybe RTD's original era, if I ever move on from what's happened.
Let me reframe that slightly then, because that was kind of what I meant, but not really. It's knowing that you were a child, you were a 5-year-old when Doctor Who started for you. Thinking that there could be 5-year-olds out there that are about to be seduced by this show.
Oh, God.
How does that make you feel? Because obviously I've been here before. Will certainly has. Ian and Gary, you've been here before as well. So it is a strange feeling. But obviously the original version of the show ran for 26 years. The production that finished a couple of years ago, that didn't run for even half that length of time before it's all sort of moved on again and needed a reboot again. So can you relate to the kids out there that could be about to embark on this adventure that may mean that they are sat here talking on a social media platform through the equivalent of whatever YouTube will be in 15, 20 years' time, probably a hologrammatic form. This could make a whole new generation of fans, really. How does that hold any sort of romance for you?
No, because I pity what the children are going to get today. Back in 2005, we got good entertainment. What they're going to get today, I would actively advise all parents to keep their kids away from. But, I'm afraid it doesn't fill me with joy at all.
I agree.
I actually am genuinely worried of what will. I don't think the kids will get into it. I just think it's a show that has been allowed to be run by the same. I don't want to use bad language. And it is just. I don't think, unless it has brought some fresh talent in with people who care about sci-fi and not bloody soaps and looking the next hot topic, whatever that means. I think Doctor Who will never appeal to a generation like it appealed to mine again. And like I say, I was lucky. I had 2 shows to fall in love with. I had the one I was growing up with, and I had classic Doctor Who, but kids don't seem to want to watch old stuff anymore. So I think a lot of kids will probably be looking at the show like, what's this? Or like they probably won't. I think
There'll have to be
the show...
something that will spark their interest. I think that the reason why New Doctor Who was a success was partly because it was a fixture for those 13 weeks. It stayed in the same place for those 13 weeks. People knew where to find it, and there was a lot of floating people who caught it, weren't sure what it was, but because they caught it again and again and again, it gradually seduced them. But it will take more this time. I do agree, Jack, and I do think that we live in a different age where, and I understand why some parents may be hesitant and mindful of what they could be putting their children down in front of. I would say that Doctor Who, the average Doctor Who viewer, proper viewer, who will consciously watch it, is probably around the 7 or 8 years mark. But obviously, younger children will see it. So I do see where you're coming from. Bring the magic back. Bring the magic back, everybody. That's what I say. And best of luck to Ncuti Gatwa next year, and to the birthday girl, to Millie Gibson too. So let us know in the comment section down below your birthday messages, greetings and wishes for Millie Gibson. She's going to be Ruby Sunday on series 14 of Doctor Who. That's coming next year. So let us know your thoughts on that, and could Doctor Who still be able to make big stars of both of them, but particularly the new companion there, who seems to have been just getting on with it, whether it's night shoots or day shoots. I do wish her all the best. Let's finish off with a couple of pretty pictures, and this one comes from The Thin King. This is specific to Millie Gibson again. It's a portrait. Oh, Gary seems rather taken with that. So this is the latest of the Thin King's works here, but he's sort of romanticized.
Are you sure
Millie
he hasn't
Gibson.
done that via AI?
It's not AI, but it is a combination of digital and traditional. I think he decides how it's going to look and puts it together traditionally, and then renders it using digital means. So it's mixed media, I think, is the expression here. It just captures the look of it. I think the face in particular, Charlotte, it's the face from the promotional images where she's in period dress. When they're
but it's the eyes for me. Like they look so youthful and bright and sort of captivating. Like you sort of your eyes are naturally drawn to hers, which is brilliant. Because I do think she has got that sort of look about her naturally.
She looks like a beautiful princess in a Disney
I was
film,
going to say that, a bit Disney, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rapunzel or something like that. Yeah. Fantastic work from the Thin King. You can find all of his work over on Twitter and Instagram too, and tell him that Type 40 sent you. We've also got this one. This is the latest cartoon from Ian's Cartoons, and it's all to tie into the Devil's End event that they've held over the weekend there in Aldbourne, and he's put together all the various Doctor Who personalities, got them in character there along the front, all the various actors who were present there over the weekend. There they are in costume in their Doctor Who roles.
I love Takis and Lilt there from Revelation of the Daleks.
Yeah, we've got Dee Sadler as Flower Child behind them, and Michael Troughton in his role from one of the Christmas specials there, and Plantagenet from Frontios, played by Jeff Rawle. And yes, it's really lovely work. And you've got the actual cast of the demons just behind them, in
all black and white.
Yeah, that's lovely work. Lovely work from Ian's Cartoons, as always. If you are a fan artist or you know of any fan artists out there, just send them our way. Let us know where we can find their work, where we can see them, and maybe we'll get them up on the view screen too. That brings me round to you, Jack. So you have been putting out more Doctor Who flavoured artwork amidst all your other stuff, haven't you? So where can people see your artwork if they want to sample it?
Well, I do have an Instagram account. It has a funny name, but it's Jack Niblet Main, NIBBLET. Don't ask why. That's just I stupidly called it that.
Who needs to know why? Who needs to know why?
Yeah, it's
Part
all
of the mystery.
Yeah, so if you go to that, you'll see all the various different artwork that I'm doing. Well, I say various different; they're all bunnies at the moment, but yeah, there's a couple of aliens in there if you want to check those out. Yeah, so if you want to have a look, you can follow me there.
Fabulous stuff.
Excellent.
And yes, Will Hadcroft. So remind people where they can get your audiobook from there.
Yeah, the Resurrection Plant. So you can get this as a CD or as a digital download from Amazon and all the usual places. It's not a full cast drama like a Big Finish. It's prose read by a single voice. So it's read by Fraser Hines. It has it's an hour long. It has sound effects and incidental music cues to help it along. It's very stylish, actually, the post-production on it. I'm very impressed by it, how they brought it to life. And it's obviously the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe. And it's set, this is an important thing to say, really. Obviously, it's set before the events of the War Games, where the Doctor's companions and the viewing audience in 1969 didn't really know who and what the Doctor was in any way, shape or form. And they come across some people where that might become a problem for the Doctor, because he'll want to keep his secret, but how far would he go to keep it? And that's one of the questions I address in that story.
Fabulous pitch. Love it. Where can people catch up with you on social media too, Gary?
Well, right now, for the moment, the only social media I'm on Facebook under either RetroDoc or Gary Akers. And you can also find me in most of the Facebook chats on the show. But for right now, just Facebook.
Good stuff. And that reminds me, got to get the plugs in, haven't we? So, the Type 40 podcast, that's up across all major podcatching platforms there. Lots of reviews, previews, interviews, geek outs, and deep dives. More being released practically, I think it's every other week we're going with these at the moment. I would say most weeks, it's every other week. Lots more recorded in the pipeline. The review that we recorded the other day was so much fun. I can't say who was on it yet. That's going to be a big surprise, but stay tuned for that. And please, like the video. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Check you're still subscribed and hit the cluster bell to get the notifications about what's coming next. I think that about covers it for another one, everybody. Yes, so thank you for your time. Or let us know what you think of all this in the comments section, or reach out to us on social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who. And how much you're looking forward to the 60th anniversary stuff that's coming up in just a few months' time. It's inching its way to us. I do wish they'd tell us more, but maybe less is more. We'll see you in a couple of days' time for Type 40 Live. Give us a like, subscribe, all that jazz. Speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye.